where you going? Where you going? Where you going?
Classy.
Patchy, where you going?
right. We are back in here with another episode. Let's make sure we're good. Make sure everybody can hear me. Make sure y'all can see me. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Music Industry Convos, where we talk about everything in the music industry and specifically your music journey. Of course, I'm your host, Classy Beats, and of classybeats.com, of course. Make sure y'all check out classybeats.com. And I just wanted to give a big shout out to everybody watching the show. Hopefully y'all can hear me okay. Drop a 1 in the chat and let me know if y'all can hear me good. And we'll go ahead and get the show started. And we've already got a bunch of people in here watching too. Shout out to Mosh Gods in the building. We got Henry Resilience over there ready to get the show started. Appreciate y'all. Who else is in here? We got Big D Right. He said, we in here. Mandy X. What's up, Mandy X? She was the sponsor of last week's live stream. Appreciate you. And then we got CG Beats, of course, in the building as always. One of the best moderators in the game. Also, shout out to Henry Resilient. I know he's the #1 moderator over on the Classy Beats YouTube channel. If you guys haven't checked out, I know some of you are watching on the Classy Beats YouTube channel. Make sure you go over to the Music Industry Convos channel and watch there as well. We're trying to get that channel up to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I know it's going to happen. We're going to make it happen. So appreciate y'all showing support. And also, if you want to show support, you can do that by going to the Classy Beats YouTube channel to where you can super chat, because I am monetized over there. So if y'all wanted to do that, you can. I appreciate it. Shout out to Candy Lady is in the building as well. She's watching over on Twitch. Candy Lady loves her some Twitch. I appreciate you showing love over there, Candy Lady. And then we got, I'm not sure how to pronounce either one of your names, but shout out to V, was watching over on IG and is now watching here on the Music Industry Convos YouTube channel. Oh man, we got an OG in the building too. Shout out to Lifestyle Did It, says tapping in. Hopefully he can freshen up and and get his face on and join the live stream later. That's another thing that's great about the show, is I will actually give you guys an opportunity closer to the end of the show. If you want to come up and talk about today's topic and discuss today's topic, you'll actually be able to do that. So make sure you get ready to join the show, because it's going to be a fun topic today. All right, so let's go over here. I'm gonna turn this volume down a little bit. So as you guys saw by my crazy thumbnail, and of course by the title of the video, today we're going to be talking about specifically record labels, and are record labels out to get you? So what I mean by that is we hear a lot of horror stories from Tory Lanez and other artists, even Kanye, that are talking about some of the deals that they made when they were joining the music industry. Excuse me. Goodness, excuse me. Anyway, so some of the deals that they're signing, some of the things that happened when they joined the music industry, some of the deals they got into, what happened behind the scenes in the music industry, and there's a lot of stories that we hear about what goes on when people are signing different deals. But I don't want to get into that too much, obviously, because each individual deal is different. And hopefully, like I said, Lifestyle will come up, because he did sign a deal and has done some music for a couple major artists. But I kind of want to just get into the basics of what making money off of your music looks like, and is it important? Is it something we should be doing? And how you can kind of protect yourself and have the leverage that you need, so when you're making a deal with either a record label or even another company, which I've done several times, that you are not caught off guard and you're actually able to look at a contract or look at a situation and not worry about losing opportunity or losing money. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. And Mandy X, hey, no problem. Mandy X says, sorry, I was on the wrong channel. There is no wrong channel. So again, I appreciate everybody who's watching. We're live on a few different platforms. If you want to super chat, again, you can super chat on the Classy Beats YouTube channel, and you can also watch on the Music Industry Convos channel. That's the channel that we'll be storing all these live streams on once the live streams are over. So if you guys want to rewatch any of that, and shout out to the replay gang as well, you'll be able to watch all of those on the Music Industry Convos channel. So let me, Lifestyle Did It up over here too. All right, so kind of the first thing I wanted to say is shout out to everybody who showed support for the last episode. We had over 60 views for that first episode, and it's still continuing to go up, speaking of the other channel. So thank you guys so much for supporting that last episode. It was a lot of fun. So if you missed it, make sure you go over to the Music Industry Convos channel and rewatch that episode. It was a great first episode. We had some good conversations with Johnny Woo, Mandy X, Big D Wright, CG came up to the show as well. So in case you guys missed it, go back and watch the first episode. It was a good conversation. I just basically shared some motivation about my music journey, how I started. I know there's probably a lot more detail I could go into, but it was a good series, good conversation. And so make sure you check out the Music Industry Convos YouTube channel and watch that first episode. So now, as we talk about the music industry, I kind of wanted to tell you guys a little bit, and I alluded to it earlier, about some of the situations that I've been in or I've been presented with in my early music career, music journey as a producer. So back in 2000, let me make sure I get the date right. I don't want to get this wrong. Okay, back in September of 2021. So this was a little while ago. This is almost 2 years ago. At the time, I was still not a full-time producer. I was doing well and starting to get a lot of traction, and I was getting very close to fully 100% focusing on music. And as you guys know, I'm crazy. I'm uploading to 50 different YouTube channels and uploading to all streaming platforms, any streaming or any music service that would take me, Audio Mag, BandLab, Rap Chat, of course, obviously, as you guys know. I was uploading to all those. And I actually got approached by a major music company. And I mean, this is like a multi-million-dollar company. They're doing very well. They're one of the prominent ones out there. Obviously, I don't want to say the name because, let's see. Hold on a second. What a Lifestyle did it say? He said, don't want to interrupt, but this beat came in loud, bro. Is it loud right now? Let me know. Hold on. Yeah, I know you don't want to. I appreciate you letting me know, though. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me okay. Yeah, I think we're good. He said, yeah. Oh, so you're just saying when it came in, it was loud. All right, cool. Appreciate you, Lifestyle did it. Shout out to everybody watching and letting me know the audio's good. So anyway, so I got an email from this company, and they're like, hey, we see what you're doing. We're trying to get some more sounds and some more loops and some different things for our platform that we're building and trying to grow. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. So of course I emailed the representative back from the company. I'm like, well, what are you guys looking for? And what do you need from me? I mean, I was honestly really surprised because my brand wasn't where I wanted it to be and where I thought I was at a place where it could give me the opportunity to get deals like this. So I was like, oh, this is really cool. I got a chance to hopefully make some money. I didn't know if they were going to offer me money or not. Anyway, so the music's loud. Let me just mute the music, man, since the music is too loud. So anyway, yeah, I read the email and I replied. I was like, hey, yeah, I'm definitely interested. Let me know what you guys are looking for, what you need, what all the deal would look like. And so we talked a little bit back and forth. They told me what they needed. And then finally, at one point, they sent over an offer. And, I was going through the offer and looking at it. And, at first I was really excited. I was like, man, this is a great offer. They were actually offering me a decent amount of money. And at the time, the money would have helped out a lot because not only was I working to build up the producer side of things, but I was working other jobs. Obviously, as many as you know, I have a family, so I was trying to help my family. I was working basically 3 full-time jobs, just trying to get by, enjoy, and grow the music side of things. So anyway, I looked at it and I saw the offer, and I kind of calculated it based on a few factors. One, the time frame, how quickly I would have to get to them, get the sounds and loops and one shots to them, and how long it would take me. Another factor was what they were asking for. And then the third factor, obviously, was how much they were going to pay me, and how long it was going to take me to do was another factor too. So I kind of calculated it out. And I looked at the number and I'm like, man, for my time, this is probably not the greatest deal, honestly. But, I needed the money at the time, and it was a good deal. So I was thinking about it, and I emailed them back, and I was like, hey, is this like the best offer that you guys could do? Is there any way, you can maybe do any more? And of course they emailed me back and they said, well, no, this is pretty much the standard going rate for everybody that we have at this time. And, if you want to do it, that'll be great. If not, it is what it is. So I was like, okay, well, I thought about it some more. I thought about it. And, it was a really tough decision because, like I said, this would have been a really good money-making opportunity for me. So I'm not going to tell the entire story, but I want you guys to write in the chat what you think I did. Oh, and shout out to Mandy X. Let me see if I've got my sound effects in here. See if I can get those working. Shout out to Mandy X. She comes through with the super chat over on the Classy Beats YouTube channel. Thank you, Mandy X. There it goes. She says, love this content. Thank you for the gems, Classy. Yeah, I appreciate you, Mandy X. And Mandy X is the sponsor of today's stream, so let's go ahead and give her a round of applause as well. Shout out to Mandy X. I finally got my sound effects working, so hopefully y'all can hear those okay. All right, so Mandy X says, love this content. Thank you for the gems, Classy. Appreciate you, Mandy X. Always watching, always showing support. And Mandy X is now the sponsor of today's stream, so thank you for that. And what did CG say? CG just said gas. Appreciate that, man. All right, so let's put Mandy X up as the sponsor of today's stream with that super chat. Thank you, Mandy X. Always showing love. All right, so you guys let me know in the chat. So that's the story of my most recent story of a situation I had with the music. We'll say it's the music industry. It wasn't exactly a record label, but it was in the music industry nonetheless. So y'all let me know, what do you think? What do you think I did in the chat? And I'm gonna save the ending to that story until closer to the end of the stream. But so with that, let's go ahead. I want to pull up a real quick video that, let me make sure I have this right, that Henry Resilient sent over to me. Again, shout out to Henry Resilient. He is the #1 mod over on the Classy Beats YouTube channel. He's always over here showing love, showing support. So I want to share this clip with you guys that I thought was really interesting, and I think will be a good lead into our main topic. So let me share this real quick, and then we'll pop this up on the screen. So as many of you guys know, Young Dolph, he was a rapper, rest in peace. He was fatally, I don't know if I could say this on YouTube, but he is no longer with us, and he's a rapper from Memphis, Tennessee, and he's an amazing artist, definitely one of my favorite up-and-coming artists. But he was actually doing an interview, and this clip I got from VSG Entertainment. So they're over on IG. Shout out to them. They did this dope interview. Well, they didn't do the interview, but they posted this interview of Young Dolph. And he's talking about how much it cost for an artist to basically promote a single. So I wanted to play this and kind of see what y'all thought. And as the responses are coming in about my story, Mandy X said she thinks I took the offer. Okay. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Do you think I took that offer that was given to me or not? And it was a pretty sizable offer too. All right, as we listen to this one from Young Dolph, and let me know if you can hear it. You should be able to.
How much do it cost to work a record independently? Anywhere from $250,000 budget to $1 million budget, depending on what you're doing and what you're trying to do with it.
And this. Okay, so the question that the interviewer asked was, how much does it cost to work a single or a record as an independent artist? So basically that would mean everything that goes behind it, like music videos, promotion, they've got to get it on the radio. What else? I mean, there's so many other things that they have to do. They have the marketing they have to do. They have the publishing they have to do, the legal side of things, all of that. And Young Dolph is basically saying it costs $250,000 if you want to basically break a record. And what that means is get it into the charts, get a lot of momentum going behind it. So let's listen to the rest of this and see what he says.
It's independent.
Yeah.
That's the song, or is that a project?
That's a song. And you like, I'm finna make
One
this my
song.
single. I'm finna go up with it. I'm finna stay on it. And we finna go up there with it. Hell yeah.
You need $250,000 just to get business.
$250,000 to $1 million.
And where do that go to?
Everything. All the way around the board. It's a machine. It's called a machine for a reason. You got
Yeah, there he
marketing.
goes.
You got
Talking
marketing
about it
on
right
the
now.
streets. You got marketing on the air, on the radio, marketing on the internet. It's a machine. You can't just do this over here and not do this over here. It's like, nah, bro.
So you can't be broke independent.
Hey, y'all be seeing these folks, man. Y'all be seeing these folks.
How much do a co-
Yeah, so that's the end of that clip. So he basically says, so you can't be broke and and break a record. And he just laughed because he knows everything that goes into it and everything that's behind it. And CG said it the best. That's the bare minimum. So there is so much that as an independent artist that you have to do and that that you need to do. And Mandy X says, damn, I'm effed. No, Mandy X, there's still hope out there. There's still hope out there. And that's kind of what I want to get into. Now, being independent, I think, is a great thing. I think there's a lot of leverage that you have, and you could be independent and you can grow. And then, later on down the road, you could get a deal that makes sense and is fair to both sides, and that could help you out. Or you could do it completely independent. You might be that diamond in the rough like Russ that just did his own thing for so many years, and then he broke and was able to accelerate. Although he did sign some other deals that helped him out as well. So I just thought, shout out to Henry Resilient for sending that clip over too. I thought that was really interesting from Dolph's perspective, just saying how much it costs and how much he thinks it costs to break a record, which is crazy. And I could honestly see it, because $250,000, if you think about it, I mean, it could cost several thousand to shoot the music video. And then if you want to promote it the right way, if you want to get some cold leads, some email leads to promote the single, if you want to promote on other people's social media, you want to get help for people like that money is going to go a long way, especially with everything going on the Spotify side, if you're trying to get streaming and get on the charts. So no, Mandy X, I don't think you are screwed in that sense. There is definitely hope out there, and there's a way you can do it. But I think that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit more as the show goes on. So the main topic I want to talk about today, and this is going to be a fun one. Let me move it over here real quick. So a lot of you guys may have heard of the MEC, and that's the Music Entrepreneur Club. It was started by Dame Ritter. I believe he's the founder, and I know DJ Payne 1, I cannot remember, and I apologize, DJ Payne 1. If they co-founded it together, I believe they did. But anyway, if you guys don't know who Dame Ritter is and who the MEC is, I'll tell you a little bit of background about that. So Dame Ritter, he was actually a manager and a record label owner. So he started or co-founded Funk Volume with Hobson, as a lot of you guys may know. And they started a record label. They had a bunch of artists and a producer on the label, Kato on the track. Many of you may know. They also had, and I'm going to read the list because I can't remember all of them. They had Dizzy Wright, Jaron Benton, I think who Kato had worked with before. They had Swizz on the record, and then another producer, DJ Hoppa. So he started Funk Volume, was working with all those artists, doing a great job working with them. And eventually, they fell out. And I think Dame and Hobson have done an interview and a sit down together, and I don't know if they ever came to a resolution. But anyway, Dame's been very successful in the music industry. He's done a lot of stuff. He's now managing a comedian, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen his content, which is called Big Jaw. And Big Jaw he's hilarious. I've seen a bunch of his content too. He does a really good job. So Dame's been involved with the music industry. He's been involved with who else? BeatStars. So he's done a lot in the music industry. Very, very knowledgeable about the music industry. Of course, you guys all know, if you know about anything, especially the producers who are watching the show, about producer content, you've heard of DJ Payne 1. He's a multi-platinum producer. He's made hits with Jeezy, Rick Ross. I mean, he goes crazy with with beats and with networking. So he's on this show, and the person at the bottom, you can see her name is Erin Knight. She's also another music manager. She's also the founder, I believe, of the oh my gosh, Excellence Academy. I always forget it, but Erin's got a lot of stuff she does. She's here in Atlanta as well. I haven't met her and don't know her personally, but I've known her by watching the MEC podcast, and she does a great job on there as well. Has a lot of experience in the music industry, and I think we have, you know, a similar background as far as how long we've been involved in the music industry. Anyway, they have a podcast. It's called the Music Entrepreneur Club. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you go check it out. I think you can listen to it on Spotify, and you can also watch the episodes on DJ Payne 1's YouTube channel. I've got it actually linked below in the description. So if you guys want to watch that, you can go over and watch the full episode. But it's a really, really great show. I enjoy watching it. They drop every Monday morning, and you guys should go check it out. So during this episode, there was a really interesting conversation that they had going back and forth, and they were basically talking about record labels and if record labels are greedy, if they're out to trick people, if they're evil. And I think DJ Payne 1 actually had that in the title of the episode. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We'll kind of go through the video, and I'll let you guys know what I think. And then at the end of this little segment, I'll actually have you guys come up and join the show if you disagree with me or if you think something different, and I can kind of give you an idea of what I think, and we can have a little fun back and forth. So shout out to everybody who's watching. Make sure you like the video, and we got another super chat, and I'll read before we actually start this video. Shout out to Henry Resilient over there on the Classy Beats YouTube channel. He says, what producer or producers, known or unknown, do you look up to? Oh man, that's a tough one. Shout out to Henry Resilient for that $5 super chat. So the producers I look up to are, it wouldn't be the producers that you think. I think it's mostly producers that have built a brand around their music. So I do look up to like the Metro Boomins and the Murder Beats, which I think they're cool and they've done a lot. But I think they're more of an anomaly, just because, not to take anything away from them and say that they didn't grind, they did, but they got into their position in a different way, in my opinion. So my producers I look up to are the everyday producers that I know are out there killing it and getting a bunch of money. So like DJ Payne 1, some of the biggest producers on BeatStars right now, like Angel Esencia, Lifestyle Did It, Busyworks Beats, built a huge brand, Curtis King. They're known more so in the producer community. Who else would I say? My guy CG Beats, killing it. Learned a lot, and he inspires me a lot on a daily basis. So shout out to CG Beats. But yeah, more so guys that are out there they're just getting money. I mean, they're killing it and they're making money off of music, because you'd be surprised if, and I don't even want to go to it and start that type of drama, but you would be surprised at how many industry producers that are out there that are actually not doing great. So any producer that I look up to for a few reasons. One, obviously they're getting money and they're going crazy. Two, they build a strong brand. And three, they're actually making a difference in the producer community and the artist community. So one of my biggest things was always working with as many artists as I could. So I wanted to work with as many artists as I could, and inspire as many artists as I could. So shout out to those guys. And I know some of them are in the chat. Lifestyle Did It said, thank you so much, bro. Yeah, of course, man. Mandy X says, shout out to CG Beats. Yeah, CG Beats is the GOAT. And what does Henry Resilient also says, Jalil Beats, have not heard from him in a while. There's a reason. And me and CG were just talking about, CG, who were we talking about the other day? Lex Luger is another one. Henry, you probably know, because we're about the same age. So he's another one that you haven't heard from in a while. And there's a reason for that. And that's probably a topic for another show. I think maybe more so when the channel grows and I'm ready to take some of that heat. But yeah, there's a reason that you haven't heard from them in a while. And I think, I think we'll get into that at some point. And what does Big D Right say? Hey, respect. Appreciate that, Big D Right. Yeah, Big Chop. Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them in there. Anyway, all right. So let's go ahead and get into the video. Like I said, this is the Music Entrepreneur Club, and the question that they pose is, are record labels greedy? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and we'll play the video. I'll stop it every now and then just to kind of give some insight and let you guys know what I think and what my opinion is. And yeah, so listen to what they have to say on this.
Labels are probably,
and let me know if you guys can hear in the chat. I want to make sure you can hear this because I know sometimes StreamYard doesn't share the audio right. So can you guys hear this okay? Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear that. Hopefully we're good. And I'm going to see if I can get this music right too, because I do want to have some music in the background. All right, Mandy X says yes. All right, so let me turn the music down a little bit. And we've got over 15 people in here. Thank y'all for watching so much. Make sure you like the video. Make sure we're all good. Is the music level okay too? Y'all let me know. All right, so let's go ahead and get back into it. Here we go. So Dame is talking about record labels, and they're posing the question, are record labels greedy? Let's go.
doing this. I mean, obviously they have more information than the artists, right? But if they're doing that, because they will, because what they'll say is, you know, they're going to buy out the rights, and, you know, most of those songs will never become like hits. So they're just like kind of gambling with more information, right? Not gambling the same way an artist would be gambling. A label has more information. They have information on trends and what their songs are doing, and, you know, so they're definitely gambling with more information.
Okay, so that's a great point, and I want to stop it there for a second. Dame says record labels are gambling, but they're gambling with more information. And that, I think, goes back to the clip we watched about Young Dolph. And just think of the amount of money that you would have to put into one single just to push it, to give it a chance. So, or not even to give it a chance, but if you want to break a record, as they say, that's a lot of money that you would have to risk or put on the line. So I think that's something to think about. And I think that's something that gets overlooked, is just how much resources, time, energy actually go into pushing music overall. So I definitely see what Dame is saying there. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, Johnny Woo says money for sure.
But I don't, maybe it's as evil as Payne is describing it, but they're doing more educated gambling, because they probably are buying a lot of stuff that never did anything to. And then they're like, you know, the songs that do pop, there's a problem from the artist side, because, you know, now they give up their rights. But
yeah, think about that. Imagine writing a $250 million or $1,000 check, not $1 million. Whew, that would be crazy. $250,000 check and nothing happens. I mean, that's a big risk, and that's not a risk that I would want to take on, honestly. Not to say that I would give away all of my rights to not be able to take that risk, but I mean, that's something you have to factor in. This whole thing is a gamble, because you really, unless you own the actual entities that are producing the profit for these singles, for the albums, then you really don't know what's going to happen. So even the record labels don't know what's going to happen. I mean, even look at what happened with Lotto and some of her releases. They were saying, man, like a lot of her, all right, I don't want to go into that too much, but a lot of her music wasn't doing as well as they thought. And that was because they took that risk at the beginning, put so much into it. And then they saw, okay, well, this isn't working out as much as they thought. So I definitely see where Dame is coming from there. And he knows a lot in that sense too, because he's run a record label and has seen how much goes into it and the kind of risk and gambles that you have to take. What's Mandy X saying? She says, I would take the risk and sign my rights because you will get exposure for future records. And that's a question mark. Yeah, that's something we could talk about too, Mandy X. I don't want to spoil the end of the show, but that's definitely something we could talk about. And I think it would depend on the deal too. I mean, obviously money up front is nice, but it depends on what the label is going to do for you, because if they're just going to take all your rights, and if you don't make any money, then that's it. Then that seems like that's something that you essentially could do yourself. But for each person, it may be different. It depends on your situation. So anyway, let's keep going.
That's essentially what I think the label is doing. I don't know if people are really, and the people at the labels, they're probably not sitting in the corner going, "Oh, like I'm going to take advantage of these artists." They're probably, they're incentivized by the higher ups to make it.
All right, so let me stop it before Aaron gets started. So Dame says the record labels are not. I love this. Shout out to Dame. He said the record labels are not sitting in the back, Birdman rubbing their hands like, oh, yeah, that Mandy X. She put out that new single. Shh. It's dope, and I can't wait. We're going to send her an email right now, and we're going to take 100% of the rights, and she's never going to know the difference. And I don't think they're doing that either. So I think it's this conversation is always funny, and it's interesting if you know the dynamics on the show. But I think this goes to somewhat of the conspiracy theorists because, again, so many every single one of these deals, what is the one thing that they have in common? Let me see if y'all can guess in the chat. So before anything happens with the deal, right? What is the one thing all these deals have in common? Well, let me see if y'all can get it in the chat. Let's see. And what did Mandy X say while y'all answer that question? She said, like Glorilla, she got nothing for her hit song FNS. Yeah, that's a great point. I wouldn't say she got nothing because she got something. Did she get what it was worth? No. But again, that goes to question. Did she take any of the risk? I mean, was the song was doing well? Yeah, but it's a gamble, like Dame was saying. Do you know where the song was going to go? How much money did you put in it to push the song further? Did it just go viral because of TikTok? There's so many factors and so many things that play into it. So that's a good point too. But y'all let me know in the chat what you think. Are record labels sitting behind closed doors just waiting for you to drop music and watching it take off, and then they want to take all the money? And what did Mandy X say? The one thing they have in common, she said the one thing they have in common is someone gets screwed over either way. Oh, man. That's tough. No, that is not what I was going to say. It all depends on how you look at it again. Okay, so the one thing all of these deals have in common is they are written down on paper. So everything is laid out in there. You have to see the contract. The contract is here. They give you the contract and it is all on paper. So I'm not going to give away some of the other points I want to make, but think about that for a second. They're not just, your song isn't sitting up on the shelf in your house and the record labels are sneaking in and just grabbing your song off of the shelf and taking that for themselves. You have to literally look at the contract, read it if you do that, and sign over those rights. So it's just an interesting point. And I think going back to even music history, and let me put myself on the screen for a second. Even going back to music history. Now I could see if it were like back in the days where a lot of music was started, popular music was started with jazz and everything like that, and people's music was just straight up getting stolen. And people were taking it and making it their own and acting like they created the music and created certain genres. I could get that because that is legit stealing. But this is something, and we're gonna have a conversation about this later at the end of the show. Like, can you really be robbed in 2023 with all the information that's out there, even with the contracts that are out there? And I'd love to hear Mandy X's thoughts on this, because I know she's in the legal system. But is that really the case? Are people actually being robbed when everything is clearly laid out? Or I say clearly as a loose term, but I don't know. That's a question that we need to answer. Let's keep going as Aaron jumps in the ring.
care, Dame. You
What?
care. You're saying they're not sitting there doing that, but I'm telling you they are. Because
But I think they're just thinking about like the money. I don't think they're like, hey, we're going to like really take advantage of these artists. Their bonuses and everything at the way that they're structured, the way they're compensated, they're trying to make as much money as possible.
I agree. You're putting profit in front of people. That is a conscious choice.
Right.
It may not be like, let me fuck this artist over, but it's like, I'm lining my pockets. I don't care about this other person.
Yeah.
Now, all right. So what do y'all think about that point by Aaron? So Aaron's saying, yes, record labels are essentially scheming and trying to be greedy and trying to trick artists and producers and whoever they sign to a deal into giving them as much as they possibly can because they don't care about them as people. So all they want to do is get and make the most money that they possibly can. And, you know, whatever happens to the artist ends up on the side of the road. You know, they're not able to pay their rent, then, I mean, it is what it is. What do y'all think about that? Let's see what Mandy X says. She says, fine print literally is called fine print for a reason. Sometimes it isn't caught, which is why an entertainment lawyer is necessary for all contractual agreements. It is necessary. I agree 100%, Mandy X, but unfortunately it's not required, and that's where a lot of artists get in trouble. Also, you do have situations where record labels will give you a lawyer. Now, obviously, again, and I don't want to go too much into the analogies here, but I mean, goodness, if you get to choose your own lawyer or the person that you're trying to make sure gives you a fair deal, you're going to use the lawyer that they give you. Why in the world would you give them that advantage? I don't know. It should be required, but unfortunately it's not. What does Big D Wright say? He says, you can't be robbed in this day and age because the contract is right there. If you don't read it, then it's your fault. Hey, some people might disagree with you on that, Big D, right? They might say, well, it's predatory. Well, just because the contract is there, if I say, Big D, right, I want you to sign this contract, and you're like, hey, you know, I know Classy, he's a cool guy. You know, let me sign this contract. And I'm signing Big D Wright. And in the contract, it says, you know, Big D Wright, he has to come to my house. He has to cut my grass every Saturday. He has to make me dinner. He has to, whenever I need groceries from the grocery store, go to the grocery store. And he signs the contract because he knows me. He trusts me. He's like, Classy's a cool dude. And then, you know, I call him on Saturday. I'm like, hey, D Wright, my grass, I mean, it's looking kind of high out there. And he's like, what are you talking about, man? I'm not cutting your grass. I mean, we're cool and all, but I'm not doing all that. I say, hey, it's in the contract. Got to cut the grass. And, you know, if you don't, then there's going to be consequences. So is that what these deals are like? I don't know. That's up to you guys. And we can talk about it at the end of the day. And I think Big D Wright has a point, though. If everything's laid out right there, some people would say, hey, D Wright, you should have read the contract, man. Go cut Classy's grass. And have no sympathy because you didn't read it. I would probably lean more towards that side, but we will see. What does CG say? CG said, this is business. And I knew he was going to go this direction. They're giving you the platform to promote yourself on a celebrity level. So what do you expect? Oh, it's the artist community. It's the artist's responsibility to take advantage of the deal and 10x what you got. So CG is saying that, hey, at the end of the day, you have to be accountable for the deals that you sign. So just because you saw that 6-figure deal, they said they were going to give you $250 up front, but you sign away all of your rights and you're getting 0 royalties and 0 off of the merch that you sell. CG says that's on you guys. You should have looked at the deal before you sign it. If you sign it without seeking legal advice, or if you sign it without reading the contract and understanding what it means, then that's on you guys. And he also said, assuming it's the right deal, and entertainment lawyers in the music business are the plug for real. And what does Mandy X said? I signed my whole life over for a deal, no cap. Oh no. Mandy X hasn't gotten the deal yet and they already got her. All right, let's keep going with this one.
That's the end result. The end result is an artist getting fucked over. So there's really no other way to look at the outcome. And also, just to be clear, the labels are taking risks left and right, but they're not losing money.
Right. But so the
All right. So before Dame goes, DJ Payne 1 says, yes, they have to take some responsibility, but the record labels are basically screwing them over. And at the end of the day, well, the record label has the money. They can go out here and they can write Young Dolph $250,000 check and not even think about it, because at the end of the day, they've hedged their bets, going back to Dame's example, and they know that they're going to be able to make some money at the end of the day. So that's what DJ Payne 1 is saying, is that, hey, these labels, they aren't losing. They basically can't lose because they have all the leverage. Let's keep going.
balance is, to me, and why the MEC exists, is just education, right? Like, the labels are more educated than the artists. A lot of artists fail to go through their education. So that's going to happen in any industry in where you're less educated in what you're working on. Like, you're probably not going to do as well as the people that are educated in the space. Right?
Yeah. And that's basically what CG was saying earlier. He said, this is a business. If they take advantage to you, and if they take advantage of you, I'm sorry, and you sign a bad deal and you don't leverage that opportunity, then that's on you at the end of the day. And that's what Dame is kind of saying. And even Big D Wright said, he said, the information's out there. I mean, do we really have any excuses for signing bad deals? And CG also said, artists think the labels are their friends or something. That's hilarious, man. I don't know. I don't even think it's that, CG, honestly. I think artists, they just see the dollar signs, and a lot of artists, again, and I'm sure some people in the community can speak to that. I can speak to that. Again, going back to my deal that I got from this music company, is I really could use the money. And if somebody's saying, hey, we're going to write you a $250,000 check right now, you're not even thinking about publishing royalties and mechanical royalties and streaming royalties and merch royalties and your masters, and all you're thinking about is, this is life-changing money for you and you need to get the money now. So I mean, I can definitely get it and see that, but also, is there some responsibility on the artist to do their due diligence and check out the deal? What does Mandy X say? Mandy X says, no, but I'm starting to think a label is necessary to actually blow up an industry, regardless of the independent artist pipeline dream. All right, interesting point there by Mandy X. We can definitely talk about that later. Here we go.
I mean, that's just...
Yeah, no, and I agree. And I think this is why I wanted to talk about, I think that behind closed doors, we had this conversation.
Oh, and I also have to say fair use. I want to make sure I invoke my fair use. DJ Payne 1, do not flag this video, man, please. A fair use on YouTube. So you are allowed to use and comment on videos that are uploaded to YouTube. So I just want to make sure we know we are invoking our fair use, and we just want to show some love to the MEC and review this video. DJ Payne 1, man, don't copyright strike my video, man. I love you. Appreciate you. Here we go.
Conversation where I wanted to talk about comparing working within the independent label system and the major label system, in the sense that a lot of times the independent label system will be just mirroring what the majors are doing and not necessarily understanding fully why, and maybe having less flexibility because they have less education and fewer resources, less money. I've just been noticing that trend. So if you guys are cool with it, I want to talk about that. Maybe have a conversation about that and buyouts, because they relate. I'm seeing a lot of, and Aaron just is kind of speaking to that earlier, so I want to flesh that out more. But the idea that, like with the Def Jam situation that you were talking about, that was a win for you. The independent situation that you talked about, that was a total loss for that artist. So I'm seeing a lot of situations in which an independent label or unsigned artists themselves are stubborn on the one hand and greedy on the other. And then the overarching theme here is that they just don't understand the music business and aren't forward thinking.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point that we were making earlier, is just that you have to be thinking of the future. Yes, and as Mandy X said, if someone offers me money, I'm taking it. And I totally get that, because, we all could, especially in these days, we all could use some money, any extra help, especially if you get 250,000 from a record label would be good. But you have to learn and understand what the long-term play is, because you don't want to get into a situation to where everything you drop is trying to recoup from that deal that you got up front, or everything you drop you're not making any money off of and you owe the record label 7 albums. I mean, there's so many situations, I don't want to get into specifics for obvious reasons, to where that could end really badly. So that's definitely something, whether it's a major label or independent label, that you have to look at and think about.
Thinking about squeezing every cent from the situation now and dehumanizing not just someone like me, but a fellow creative, which I think almost makes it worse, because a lot of the people in this world are creatives and they're hands-on. They're working very closely with the musicians that they're exploiting.
All right, now, so this is where me and Payne part ways. As you guys will learn about me, and I guess I can go ahead and give some of my feelings on this. As you guys will learn about me, I am all about accountability. So I'm always going to hold myself 100% accountable for everything that happens in my life. So that's probably a little bit extreme, but I don't ever encourage or accept the mindset that I'm a victim, or, as DJ Payne once said, being dehumanized, because to me, that is all within my control. So again, kind of going back to what CG was saying about it being a business. I love people keeping their intellectual property. I love artists being able to be creative, being able to do the thing that they love, being able to make money off of it. But to me, as soon as you trade that thing you created and you love for, or you want to trade it for money, then everything that existed before that goes away, and this turns into a business transaction. Because again, I understand, trust me, as a creative, like, I love all my beats like little babies, and I don't ever want to let them go. But the minute I'm trying to sell a beat, the minute someone wants to buy an exclusive, or a record label makes me a deal, or I get a sync licensing placement with it and I have to take it off the shelf, or whatever happens, the minute I start to think or want to do business based on that piece of work, to me, it becomes something totally different. So you can't, I think a lot of artists and a lot of producers signing these deals want the person they're signing the deal with to care about that. And it's all well and good. That's nice that this is your intellectual property, and that you feel this way about it, and you created it on a rainy day sitting at the Niagara Falls, the day after, your hamster died. But once you introduce money into it, that's where the business starts. And I think, in my opinion, I think all of that goes away, because this is now a business transaction. And what happens when you're trying to get into a business transaction is you're trying to have the most leverage, make the most money, and produce the most passive money in the future. So you want to have a good return on your money. So this is about money. It's not about the music. It's not about feelings. And I know they said in their episode, they must have saw my comment that I left on this video. And I think some people were leaving other comments, but they said on the episode that dropped today, that there's obviously there's feelings in the music industry, and you're going to have feelings in your music. I'm not saying keep your feelings out of the music. I'm saying you have to keep your feelings out of the business, because at the end of the day, the market doesn't matter. The record labels don't care about your feelings when it comes to that. So it's always a number. And when you decide to enter into a business agreement, you should only be focused on the numbers too. And I think that's what happens with a lot of these artists and why they get upset. And anyway, let's keep going.
As opposed to the major labels. And I feel like when you push back on a major label, all you have to do, in my experience, a major label's 8 out of 10 times going to offer you a terrible deal at the beginning. And all you have to do with me, I've gotten terrible deals. The second a lawyer,
Recordings just got better.
All right, so I didn't realize we were gonna get ads on this. I guess I need to sign up to YouTube Red so we don't get the ads. So let me let this ad play as we get back into the video. So DJ Payne 1 said they're always going to give you, or they're always going to send you a bad deal. And I haven't been offered, or I haven't signed, I should say, a deal with a major record label or with an independent record label. Excuse me. But like I said in the story I told at the beginning, I have been offered a deal by a music industry company, and I think they have a lot of similarities there. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I know Lifestyle Did It was in here earlier. He's actually signed a deal with a major or independent record label. But they're not gonna I wouldn't say they're going to always give you a bad deal, because to me a bad deal would say, again, going back to music history, I'm going to take this from you and you're going to get nothing. To me, that is being taken advantage or a bad deal. Now, it's not you might not get a great deal to where they say, hey, I'm going to give you $2,000 and I'm going to take all your master rights and you're never going to make any money off of this song ever. And you're also going to have to produce 7 albums for me. And if those songs don't do well, then you have to do such and such and such. So I think if they're not offering you anything, then yeah, obviously that's a bad deal. But for some people that may be a good deal, taking a certain amount of money and only producing a certain amount. It just depends. But I wouldn't sit here and say that they're offering you a bad deal. They're just offering you a deal that's the most beneficial to them. And again, when you enter into business, of course, they want to make a deal that's going to benefit them the most. I don't know anybody on this planet that is a good business person that wouldn't want to make a deal that way. Now, can you be more fair? Obviously you can be more fair, sure. But anyway, that's just my opinion on that. Let's see. What did Mandy X say? Very well said. Feelings will be in the music industry, but keep your feelings out the business. Yes, very well said. What does CG say? He said, I've turned down every deal I've ever gotten. Hey, nothing wrong with that, CG. I can totally respect that. And he said the reason why is the deals were trash money. The deals were trash. Money was small for me. So that's why he turned it down. Johnny Woo says producers aren't as desperate than artists, in my opinion. Yeah, that's an interesting opinion. I would definitely disagree. And here's the reason I would disagree with that. Because as a producer, well, it depends on, I think it depends. But in general, I think I would disagree. Because the producers, especially a producer that is making good music, you have to invest a lot up front. Whereas an artist, there are a lot of tools out there that don't require you to be able to put a lot of overhead, or I guess of upfront investment into making music. So that would be my only thing. So I think a producer is probably going to sign a bad deal more so than an artist, just because there's a lot of producers out there, but I think there's probably more money for artists than there are for producers. So that would just be my opinion on that.
To the email thread, suddenly that deal is exponentially better, where I'm like, wow, why was that even necessary? And it's just because they're fishing. They're seeing who's smart and who's not. If they can get away with it, they're going to get away with it. With an indie, I feel like there's way more pushback than from a major. Just because of the lack of education, just because of the difference in resources, just because of this idea that because you're independent, you need more, because of this narrative about, bossing up and ownership and blah, 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 that people are just perverting over and over and over and over again. And they're misquoting these artists. I'm not going to say names, respect to all the artists that are actually trying to teach people, but they take these platitudes and then apply it to a business they don't understand and start moving funny as a result of that. But I want to talk more in depth about that later.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
Let me just ask you guys a question. And again, I'm all about giving fair deals. I'm all about.
All right, so here's where it gets juicy. Dame is about to go in right now because I think he feels a lot of the way I feel, and CG was saying earlier just about the accountability side of things. So yeah, it's about to get a little spicy in here. So y'all get ready.
About long-term relationships, but let's say you went to a car dealership and you went to whatever, a Mercedes car dealership, and the salesperson made a mistake and was like, and they accidentally sold you a car for 30 grand when it was supposed to be 100 grand. Are you going, or now you take yourself out of the equation. Are most people going to say, hey, you're making a mistake, I should be paying 70 more grand for this Mercedes?
All right, so that is a definitely an interesting analogy. So basically what Dame is saying is if you went somewhere, so say you went to a record label, let's just stick with the record label example, and the record label said, hey, we're going to give you 10,000 for this deal. Here are all the details, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, 10,000. All right. Sounds good. You're like, okay, cool. So they send you the paperwork. The paperwork says $1 million on it instead of 10,000. Are you guys going to sign the contract, or are you just going to let it go? What do you think? What does Big D Wright say? He says, nope, ran off on the plug. Big D Wright said, I'm not giving him anything. Oh, I feel that, Big D Wright. He said, nope, he's gonna let it go. What does Mandy X says? She says, or what does she say? Let me use proper English. She says, you ain't gonna say shit. You're gonna sign it and move the F on. Thank you for the $1 million. All right, Mandy X says she's taking the money and running. So that's very, very interesting to hear y'all's replies. What would I do personally? Yeah, of course. If someone, yeah, of course I'm gonna sign it. No, I don't know. I don't know what I would do in that situation. I think it depends. So with the car, let me say it this way. I think people feel better about taking money from a corporation than they do from people. So in that situation with the car analogy, you would only be the corporation or the oh my gosh, I can't think of a way to say it. What are they called? The car dealership would be the ones losing money, essentially, maybe, and probably the car manufacturer would be the one actually losing the money, right? But at the end of the day, they can probably write it off or whatever, right? So it's a tough situation to be in because are you taking that salesperson's commission? Like, who's getting hurt? So Mandy X is brutal. She says they'll be all right. Dang, Mandy X. And Big D Wright said it's my integrity, to be honest. Yeah, I understand that. All right, let's keep going. Let's see what they say.
Are most people going to do that?
Yes.
No,
I'm trying to understand the point that you're leading us to.
What I'm saying is, it's the same thing that the labels are doing with these artists with lack of education, right? The customer going into the Mercedes dealership knew how much that car was supposed to be. It was supposed to be $100,000. The salesperson, maybe it's a new salesperson. Salesperson was like, oh, I think this one's supposed to be discounted to $30,000. All I'm saying is that most people are going to be like, oh shit, I could get a Mercedes for 30 grand. Yeah. I'm gonna go get this Mercedes. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell whoever I know that they're actually giving Mercedes for 30 grand. Go get it. Some people might go get it and flip it. Like,
oh man. Yeah. So basically what Big D Wright say, he's like, he's gonna run off on the plug. Yeah. You're gonna run off on the plug and then tell your friends. So that's basically what Dame's saying. He's like, most people would not go back in the dealership and be like, hey, I just feel terrible. Let me write you that check for $70,000. No, most people aren't going to do that. But is that right or wrong? I think that's the thing that we have to talk about. Would it be right for you to do that? Again, guys, I'm all about accountability. If the contract says I am giving you this car for $30,000, the person with the car hands you that contract and says they're going to give you this car for $30,000. You sign the contract that says I'm taking this car for $30,000. You give them their $30,000. You walk away with paying $30,000 for a $100,000 car. That to me, it is what it is. I don't think there's a wrong or right in it. There was a legal binding contract. You sign that contract. What the contract says is what the contract is. What did Mandy X say about this? She said, nah. And if you do that, you're dumb at... Mandy's about her money, man. Mandy does not play. It isn't morally wrong when they mess it up. Exactly. They're a huge corporation. Like I said, they'll be all right. Bet John gets fired. Oh man. So dang. She said, John, man, he's going to lose his job at the dealership. But leave all that aside. I'm not thinking, again, once the money is introduced, the business is done, the contract is introduced, you have to put everything else aside, in my opinion. So what the contract says is what the contract says. If you don't like it, like DJ Payne 1 is saying, and like I was saying with my story at the beginning, you can email them back. You can say, hey, I don't like this contract. Can we change it? Can we make this adjustment? And then you can sign a contract that you actually like. But if you walk away with something that somebody's offering you and they offered it, you did not take it from them. This is the thing that kills me about this. It was not taken from you. You willfully gave this away. You're not a victim. You cannot be a victim. Now, you could say, oh, but I didn't have the money to pay for a lawyer. Oh, I didn't do. I cannot accept that as an excuse. If this is a lucrative enough deal, if you've done your research to find out what these type of deals look like, then you can know if this is a good deal or a bad deal. Obviously, I would recommend that everybody goes and seeks out an entertainment lawyer anytime that you're dealing with this kind of issues, because I've been in the music industry for over a decade and I probably couldn't understand or make out all the details of a record label deal. So anyway, talk to a professional, but at the end of the day, if you sign it, you signed it. So let's keep going.
The difference is we're talking about human intellectual property. A salesperson missing out on, like, I'm not seeing this as the same, because a salesperson can make a mistake for sure, and that could happen. And I get the point that you're making, but when you're talking about intellectual property, it's like somebody buying a mispriced Mercedes or selling a mispriced Mercedes is not going to affect their future.
All right. I hate this point so much. And shout out to Erin. This is nothing personal against Erin. I think Erin is awesome and she has a lot of good advice. And this is nothing against her personally, but I hate when people use this intellectual property point. And here's the reason why. You cannot use the intellectual property point again and if you're signing the deal. So nobody's coming into your house and taking your intellectual property off of the shelf while you're sleeping. You are signing the deal. You're agreeing that you're going to let the record label control, use, alter, claim your intellectual property throughout the universe, I think is how they phrase it or use it. It's like throughout the universe and to the end of time, it is their property. Intellectual property, physical property, whatever. Now, I know Mandy X could probably speak to this some more. Are there certain deals that should be made? Like obviously physical property, slavery, it's illegal. So you can't make that deal, right? It's just illegal. But at the same point, oh, here we go. Mandy X is saying, you're an adult. I assume you should always go with your gut feeling on whether or not to sign a deal. Or if you don't know, you can just get an entertainment lawyer. And I say, okay, just get an entertainment lawyer. Sure. Maybe you can afford one. You can tell them to work on commission. So once the deal, your $250,000 deal is signed, Maybe you give them 25,000. I don't know how you work it out, but you can figure it out. Or you can tell the label, hey guys, I have no idea what's going on with this deal. I'm new. I really appreciate the offer. I want to sign it, but I want to make sure I'm covered. You go, you take that deal. I wouldn't recommend, I'm not going to say this because I don't want the labels to come after me. I would recommend you doing your own research. You take that contract, you look it over, you go line by line and figure out what everything means. If you can't find it, then you go find somebody who's signed a deal, ask them about their experience and what that means. And are we still good? Because I see a lot of y'all are, some of y'all are falling off. I want to make sure the stream's still good. Shout out to everybody who's still here. Make sure y'all like the video. So again, you're not a victim, and I don't care whether it's intellectual property or not. If you are sitting down to receive money from that, then this is a business deal. So again, I don't care what it is.
Much longer than the commission that they're missing out on. Do you know what I'm saying? But music is lifelong legacy. You're literally looting people of their intellectual property and ability to feed themselves in the future. And I think that is what makes this completely different. And
again, Aaron, I don't want to speak to Aaron. I'll speak to y'all. This is, you're not making them do anything. They are willfully agreeing to sign their intellectual property over. They're not children. They may be children's. They may have a children's perspective as far as the music industry and legal terms goes, but they still have all the resources and everything available to them to be able to understand what they are signing. And it's all about what Mandy X said, your mindset. I do not agree with or approve of this victim mindset. You have to be accountable.
And then Mercedes owns that car. That salesperson doesn't own that car. Whereas these artists own these songs, and they're being uprooted from the thing that they own because they don't know.
Mercedes owns it, and then you buy it, and now you own it.
Well, I
For
think
sure, but the
salesperson,
the salesperson isn't the one who owns it,
but
and it's not the salesperson's legacy.
It doesn't matter. Legacy, again, I don't like that point either. Legacy doesn't matter. You still want money for it. So again, Aaron, I would say this to Aaron if I were talking to her, and I say it to you guys. If the opposite were flipped, of course you're gonna sign that deal. You're gonna say, "Oh, they're giving me 2.5 million instead of 250. Yeah, let me sign this real quick." Because it's business. You want to receive as much money as you possibly can from the record label, and the record label wants to make as much money as they possibly can off of you. And this is business. Doesn't matter about intellectual property, doesn't matter about how the record label's doing. You don't care how they're doing, they don't care how you're doing. All they care about is how is this business deal being constructed? How are we going to benefit from this business deal? So I wish, and at some point we'll get a record label executive on here to kind of talk through some of these things, but it's not, I think it gets overcomplicated when you start talking about, oh, but it's intellectual property and oh, it's their legacy. If it's your legacy, then take and hold ownership of your legacy. Like CG was saying, don't go sit at the table with somebody that wants to purchase your legacy and use your legacy for their own benefit. If you care about your legacy and your intellectual property that much, then don't sit down at the table. Nobody is forcing you to sit down at that table. You can go get a job at McDonald's, work overtime, get a second job at another place, and then you can have your legacy all to yourself. But you can't have it both ways. You can't say I want to protect and control my legacy and my intellectual property, and then at the same time be mad when the record labels come out of the better end of the deal. Nobody's making you sit down at the table, and they don't owe it to you to make sure that your legacy is protected. The minute you sat down at their table and asked them to give you money in exchange for that, then you either need to have the leverage or you need to understand what you're getting yourself into. Let's keep going.
Where I don't agree with you guys is I put more fault on the artist for running into an industry that 100%. You don't understand, signing shit that you don't understand, people have been telling you to get a lawyer. Now, if there's a situation where you got a lawyer and the lawyer fucked you over, then all right, then I'm like, okay, yeah.
Recordings.
All right, so we got another commercial. But even then, even if you sit down with a lawyer and a lawyer screws you over, it's still your responsibility to understand even what your lawyer is presenting you with. Mandy X, correct me if I'm wrong. Because again, Mandy X works in the legal field, but it's up to you to understand what you're signing. And still, if you don't, I mean, if you hire a lawyer and you're thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to fully trust this lawyer, you can ask for somebody else to look at it for you, whatever you're going to be signing. So I mean, there's so many options out there. I think it is really hard in today's day and age to be seen and claim to be a victim. Mandy X says you are responsible for your own actions. I 100% agree. Let's keep going.
I don't agree with the way labels practice their business. But all I'm saying is, and we've said this probably on the first podcast, is that you go in with education, you understand your value, and you sign only things that you understand at the end of the day.
That's it.
If that is that any
I
other
don't disagree with that. I think that the artist should be educated. It still doesn't mean that the label is not scummy. Like when you're taking people out to lunch, calling them sis and bro, and so these artists are clearly these people care about me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they're sitting here doing like little favors here and there. Let me hook you up with a free beat. The thought process, and again, this is not me shitting on the Christian industry, but I have to be honest, like the Christian industry, of course these artists are going in thinking, oh, of course these people care about me because we share the same faith and there's some integrity here.
Yeah, that's an interesting subject too. I won't get too much into that, but yeah, it's definitely an interesting point that certain people, they try and use different tactics to gain your trust. Again, like we mentioned, having a record label give you a lawyer, like, oh, we want to make sure you get taken care of. Here's our lawyer to help you out. And obviously the lawyer's incentivized to make the best deal for the record label, right? Because they're on their payroll. But again, it's 2023, y'all. There's no excuses. Like you can do your research, you can understand everything that's going on. So give me 1 second, y'all. As usual, we need to take a quick commercial break. So I'm going to pause this, play some music for you guys, and I will be right back. So give me 1 second and I will be right back.
Tachi, where you going?
All right, we're back in the building. Make sure we're good. Can y'all hear me? Everything's good. We're okay. All right, let's see. Let's keep going with this video. What did Mandy X say? She said, what did she say? Oh, okay. So y'all are having a conversation in here. CG said, Business. Labels only care about doing numbers and making money. They don't care about your music. Yeah, and CG, to your point, and shout out to everybody who's watching. We still got over 15 people watching here. Make sure y'all like the video, please. And make sure you watch over on the Music Industry Convos channel. Subscribe as well. Trying to get up to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I know we're going to hit it easily. So thank y'all for watching over there. And also, if you want to support the channel, you can go over to the Classy Beach YouTube channel and super chat there. We're monetized on that channel. Should be monetized on Music Industry Convos channel soon here as well. So thank y'all for watching. And anyway, yeah, it's business, man. And it's business to the artist or the producer that's signing the deal as well, because again, they want to get the most money. So let's go ahead and finish up with this. And y'all let me know, make sure the sound is good and y'all can hear this.
Do they know they're being robbed like in broad daylight and everybody is watching it happen? I just personally think that's different than going to a misinformed salesperson.
Yeah, well, it's like this. If I'm sending my kid off to school and I tell my kid don't disrupt in class, and the teacher's telling my kid don't disrupt in class, the kid knows not to disrupt in class. They disrupt in class and the teacher punches them in the mouth. I'm going to be, somewhat upset at my kid for knowingly violating what I'm telling that child not to do. And I'm going to beat the fuck out of that teacher. I'm going to shoot their car up. I'm going to light that bitch on fire.
DJ Pay One is all about the violence, man. He's going to get my channel taken down before it's even started. I get what he's saying, but yeah, Mandy X said that's an extreme example. Because again, you can't bring children into it because these are not children. These are adults. We're adults here. We can manage our business. You can pay your bills. You can go to work. Hopefully y'all are paying your bills and go to work. Lord knows I'm trying over here. Anyway, but this is not a helpless, innocent child at school. This is a grown, as Mandy X would say, a grown ass adult. And I'm sorry. I cannot feel sorry for you if you sign a bad deal. Let's keep it going.
Because what they
Exactly.
did
I'm
to my
finding
child.
all of their relatives.
Yeah,
Yes.
because like they know better.
their
They're the
relatives.
adult
You
in
guys
that
are
situation.
out
I'm
of
looking at the
control.
labels the same way. The labels have all the knowledge. The artists don't. The artists are being idiots.
But this is the problem with that, and this is my issue with that conversation. How do the labels have all the knowledge? DJ Payne 1 says the problem with these type of deals is that the labels have all the knowledge. Somebody in the chat tell me, how did the labels get all this knowledge? Did they have to, sticking with our Harry Potter theme from our thumbnail, I mean, did they have to go to the bank vault, ride the little trolley all the way down, fight a dragon, open the vault with their magic wands, and there were all the secrets to making deals in the music industry? I don't think so. And we've just talked about all the information that's readily available out there. So I don't see it that way. It's all about you empowering yourself, and that's really what I want to kind of have as a message today. Like, you have the power, you have everything available to be able to make a great deal. So anyway, let's keep going.
Idiots. I'm not here to say that artists and producers aren't. I'm so upset at producers for doing this stupid shit, selling beats as buyouts. I'm upset about that. But their intention, they're coming from a place of desperation. They're coming from a place of ignorance, just like a child.
And that's not the label's fault, though. That's the thing. It's not the label's fault that you're desperate. Yes, can they take advantage of you because you're desperate? Yes, but is it their fault that you're desperate? Whose fault is it that you're desperate? I don't see that as the label's fault, nor is it their responsibility. They're not responsible for not making deals with desperate people. If I have, this is going to be a horrible example. If I have somebody that needs some money and I want them to cut my entire 2 acres of grass and paint the house and, babysit my kids for 3 hours. I'm like, I'll pay you $50. And I know they're like, well, I need the money, so I'll do it for $50. That's not taking advantage of them. I mean, I could pay them more because that would be a nice thing to do, but I don't I don't have to pay them that. If they are willing to do the job for $50, then yeah, I think they should take that $50 and because they agreed to it. If not, I'll find somebody else that maybe will do it for $50 or maybe I'll have to pay more.
Whereas the adult in the situation, the person with the ill intent, the person who knows what they're getting out of the situation is unfair. That's the, do you give them more blame? I assign a little more blame towards that party.
Yeah, that example was wild, but
yeah, Dame said Payne is wilding on that one. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree, Payne. I love you, man. That one was kind of crazy. Y'all don't go out there punching teachers, and Payne should know better because he's got his teaching degree. Don't go punching teachers, man.
I mean, I came into this industry with literally no music industry experience, literally none. I just came in it with a little common sense, and I don't feel like I've ever gotten taken advantage of.
That's huge. All right, so we got another ad. I will have YouTube Red or whatever that is by the end of the day, so we don't have to deal with this the next time we preview a video. But yeah, let's keep going. And I'm gonna bring y'all up on this on the show soon.
Me paying $50 at that dumb music conference to have them listen to our music. That's literally the only time I felt taken advantage of. I lost $50 listening, having these A&R folks listen to one of our songs only to tell us like, oh, it's a good song. And I walked out of the room.
All right. Well, we got to stop the show and we got to give a big round of applause. And I'm going to turn this all the way up to our guy, Johnny Woo, in the building. No comment, no questions, just showing love on the chat. He is the new stream sponsor with the $20 super chat. Shout out to you, man. Thank you, Johnny Woo, for showing love over there. Appreciate you, man. And let's see, does he say anything over in the chat? He just drops a smiley face. Appreciate that. Johnny Woo is the new sponsor of today's show. All right, let's keep going on this video a little bit more.
And then that's literally the only time that I felt like I got taken advantage of.
Dame, so you're a rare combination, though, of knowledgeable and fair, because you're not giving people deals that you wouldn't accept, and you never move that way. And then ironically, too, you have artists out there who are talking about Dame robbed me and this and that. So that's, I think, that's the other side of this conversation that you can.
I'll somewhat agree. I haven't really been taken advantage of a lot to my knowledge. Now, I do think I've been underpaid in a lot of places, but same thing. I came in with no experience, but I had a ton of common sense, and I'm from the south side of Atlanta. I'm like, if shit don't make sense, it don't make sense. Like, you got to explain this to me again. And if you can't explain it to me again, I'm going to call somebody who can. And that's when people get scared. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you. I'm not saying that it's not at all on the artist. I'm just saying that when you're in a situation, like Dane, when people like, I'm signing deals with artists regularly. I'm like, hey, you need to go talk to somebody about this.
Yeah, I think, not to interrupt Aaron, and I'll let her finish in a minute, but I think the thing with this argument is that DJ Payne 1 and Aaron are basically arguing that record labels shouldn't be making these type of deals, period. Well, again, if you think about business as its core, and it's a deal and it's a business, I have this, let me find something. For example, this tripod, right? I have this tripod that I use sometimes for stuff. This tripod probably I could have bought at cost for, I don't know, $2, right? But instead of buying it at cost, what I did is I went to somebody who sells these tripods and I bought it for whatever, $5 or however much. They made twice as much money off of me as they put into it. Did I have the option to go buy this at cost? Yes, I could go buy it at cost. I could do all my research and figure out where to get it at cost, buy it in bulk, and then have a bunch of tripods and maybe go sell them myself. But I didn't do that because someone was offering me something more convenient and that worked out better for me. And I think that argument saying that record labels shouldn't offer these type of deals is wrong, just because one, you don't have to accept that deal. You don't have to accept those deals. And two, like, you have the option to do your own research. They're not forcing you to do that. So anyway, what does Mandy X say? This is how everything in the world works. Exactly what I'm saying. Why would record labels be any different? They make it more convenient for you. Exactly. They give you the opportunity and the option to accelerate your growth for X. And saying that they shouldn't be offering these types of deals because they benefit the record labels, or they may be seen as predatory, I think is wrong. But anyway, let's keep going.
Or this is what's happening. I'm explaining it to them. You're like that too. So I'm saying, I just think it's a lack of integrity. I get that you don't, but I think it's a huge lack of integrity to know somebody doesn't know that they're giving up all their rights and to still let them sign it. Especially when
again, I disagree. I mean, stuff that we buy every day, we're essentially overpaying for, right? And nobody's making you pay those prices for that. Anyway, let's keep going.
Have a trend of that. It's one thing if it happened once or twice. It's another thing. Now that dealership, if that sales associate kept selling $100,000 Mercedes for $30K, that dealership will fire them. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, for the label to consistently be like, yeah, we made another bad deal, and that person is now getting bonuses for it. That shit is crazy to me.
I just want to add this, because when Aaron brought up patterns, this to me is proof positive that these people giving terrible deals know goddamn well what they're doing. Every time there's been a bad deal put in front of my face, they've always rushed me, and it was always a lie. I swear to you, Dame, every time I can name 3 situations right off top with major labels. There's one I'm dealing with right now where they are.
That's fine that they can rush you, but you don't have to be rushed. And I get you're saying, oh, artists might be in a vulnerable position and they might feel desperate, but again, that's on you. Like, if a record label came to me today, and I'll have to finish up my story at the end, and they said, hey, we'll give you this and this and this. If you don't make a decision by the end of the day, then you're not gonna get the money. Well, I would be like, okay, guys, like, I can't help you because this is not a fair or equitable amount of time for me to assess this deal. So you don't have to feel rushed. If you feel rushed, that to me, that's a you problem, because of course they want to get this deal done and move as quickly as possible and get this machine, as Young Dolph was saying earlier, going. But you don't have to feel rushed. They didn't approach you because they don't want to make a deal with you. You've been approached because they want to make a deal with you. And you're only as rushed as you let yourself feel. So I don't let anybody else rush me. What did Mandy X say? She said Aaron makes no sense. No, she does make sense. I think it makes sense. I don't think it's right though. She's taking more the emotional side of it, and I don't think that can factor in once money is on the table and once you're trying to get money for something. Like, you just have to leave that out of it. What did Mandy X say? She said, I tried selling something I got for $10 for $100 and succeeded. That's on them. Exactly, Mandy X. And that's the example I was going to get. If you buy, I don't know, a rare gem from me, and I say, yeah, I'll sell it to you for $10, and then you go and sell it for $100, you don't owe me anything. That is on me because I sold it. That is a perfect example, Mandy X. Shout out to you. Yeah, she said I didn't actually. That's just a hypothetical. No, that's exactly the example I was going to give. It's not your fault for us. Anyway, let's keep going.
It was some sort of buyout.
So we'll go another minute deal. And then I'll bring you all up.
They were planning on making a ton of money and cutting me out of it.
Hey, boss. So I know you're
all right. So we got. Let's go ahead and end it there. So this has been a very interesting conversation. Again, shout out, big shout out to the MEC and DJ Payne 1 and Aaron Knight and Dame Ritter over there on the MEC. It's an amazing show for artists and producers. Y'all make sure you go check it out. They do a really good job. They drop a new episode every Monday, I believe. So I've been watching it every Monday for years. And they're on episode 185. That was episode 185. Also, the link is in the description if you want to watch that full episode. So I'm going to drop the link in the chat for y'all to come up. And again, also let me shout out some of our sponsors for today's live stream. So last time I talked to you guys a lot about putting your music out there and the importance of distributing your music and putting out good music. If you haven't signed up for a distributor yet, make sure you check out DistroKid. They make it so easy to sign up and distribute your music. They're also, as far as I know, and I probably shouldn't say this, but if you sign up with DistroKid, you will actually get verified on Spotify, which is a big plus. In my opinion, it's helped me get on some of the playlists and has been able to allow me to be spotted more by some of the curators over at Spotify, and has helped me grow to where I am now, which is 63,000 monthly listeners and over a million streams. So anyway, if you haven't signed up for DistroKid, make sure you click the link in the description of this video and sign up. It's less than $20 for the entire year to distribute unlimited amounts of music. So make sure you go check out DistroKid. For producers, if you want to sign up to upload your beats to BeatStars and sell your beats, BeatStars is also another sponsor of today's video. You can use my code CLASSY30 when you sign up for BeatStars, and you'll get a free 30-day trial so you can try out selling your beats. So let me drop the link for you guys to come up. Let's see, join, and we're gonna go live for a few minutes here. All right, so there's the link for anybody who wants to join and talk about this stream and give your thoughts on the whole subject that we talked about today. I hope Lifestyle did it in here. I would love for him to come up and maybe talk about his deal. But while we're waiting for people to join, let me tell you guys the end of my story that I told earlier. So in case you missed it, go back and rewatch this live stream, and shout out to the replay gang who's watching as well. But basically how my story ends is, so I emailed back the music company that was wanting to work with me, and this is again in 2021, and I said, hey, I did some thinking about it. I didn't say it in quite this way, but I did some thinking about it, and I think what I can offer you is what you're asking for, but the price is going to be this much, because it's going to take me this much time, and it's going to take me this much energy to produce it. And so the guy that I was going back and forth with, he's like, okay, well, let me talk to such and such. So he replied, asked them about it, sent me an email back, and he's like, we're not going to be able to do it. And I was like, man, so should I just take what they offered me, or should I just turn down the whole thing? So I told him, I was like, okay, well, thank you for your time, and hopefully we'll be able to do something in the future. And I didn't take the deal. Now, fast forward to, let's see, a month ago, so the beginning of this year. So fast forward a year and 3 months later, I was thinking about that deal that I made, and I said, let me reach back out to this company and see if they're still interested, right? My thinking was they were interested with me. They're interested in doing a partnership deal with me before. They'll still be interested now. So what I did is I emailed them back, and I was like, hey man, I wanted to see if you guys were still interested in doing a partnership with me. And I wasn't expecting to get anything back from them, because they said no the first time. And they emailed me back, and they're like, yeah, actually, we see that you're growing and your brand's doing well. We'd definitely be interested in doing a deal with you. And I was like, oh wow, great, okay. And guys, I didn't even have to ask. They said, so the amount that you asked for before, they said, are you still comfortable with that now? So I made them a counter offer, right? And the counter offer was 3 times plus as much as they were offering me. I made them a counter offer, and I said, yeah, this is the counter offer I wanted back in 2021. So they came back and they said to me later, they're like, hey, we'll do it for that rate if you're still interested in doing it. I'm like, yeah, perfect. That rate was still fair. So I actually made the deal with them And I got the price that I asked for. So that's just another thing. I think that plays into kind of what we were talking about today. It's just one about having leverage and not feeling desperate. I could have taken the money back when they first made the offer and be like, I just really need it. And then who knows, that may have put me at a ceiling and at a disadvantage with that company and with myself, because I wouldn't have been able to leverage my position and ask them for more money, essentially, and more incentives. So I asked them for more money. They said no. I said okay. I revisited another year later and I said, hey, I'm still interested in doing a deal with you guys at this rate. And they said, that's fine. We'll do it. We're interested in doing the deal. So I made the deal with them, and it really worked out for both sides. So that's kind of a cool story from my perspective. I know it always doesn't turn out that way, but I truly believe that if you are not desperate and if you have faith in your ability and your branding, you can be successful and you can make good deals. Just don't be desperate and don't take whatever someone offers to you. So anyway, I've done enough talking. Let's go ahead and bring up the sponsor of last week's stream. We got Mandy X in the building. Let's go ahead and give you some applause too. Shout out to Mandy X. Let me make sure you can hear me. I think.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I can hear you. We got Mandy X in the building. There goes the applause.
Hey. Okay.
All right, Mandy X. Go
I love
ahead.
your story. I do, but
Thank you.
it's like one of those things. What would we wouldn't know what the result would have been if you would have taken the deal, So it's like it's always a wonder what would have happened if you took it back then, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that brings up a good point too. If I did take the deal back then, right? Who knows? Maybe I could have taken the deal. I could have done the work, and they said, "Wow, you did a really good job with this work. Here's your money. We'd like to do more with you, and we'll pay you more this time. We'll pay you more next time," right? But at the end of the day, it's really just taking an assessment, one, of your time, because you can't buy more time. And
Right.
that's, I think, was the biggest thing for me. And two, what are you willing to take for your time? Because I knew that this project was just going to take a lot of my time, and the amount they were offering me at first, I just knew my time was worth a lot more than that. So it wouldn't have been a good deal for me to take it. But at the end of the day, I mean, it could have worked out either way. Like you said, all I know is now that I waited a year and I took this deal that was 3 times more than what they initially, 3 times plus what they initially offered me, and it worked out. So
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what do you think about today's? Go ahead.
Yeah, it was interesting. I agree with most everything. Like, obviously, I agree with the fact that if you sign a deal and then you're pissed off later because you're not happy with what you signed, it's on you, because like you're an adult and you signed it.
Yeah.
But like some of us, I get it. I understand. I guess it would be really just like case by case basis, like what the deal is, whether or not it's something, like you said, if there's like many hours that are going to be spent on this and you're not getting compensated, not even like half of what you deserve, then that'd be silly to sign something like that,
Yeah. And there's so much that goes into these deals, like whether it's a sync licensing deal or a deal with a record label, there's all different types of deals. So it's really, like you're saying, it is a case by case basis. But at the end of the day, my thing and my message is to everyone is don't give up more than you have to. And don't be afraid to negotiate too, because again, what we were saying, going back to my story, they approach you for a reason, right? So if you have someone approaching you and wants to work with you, then in most cases, in my experience and one of the stories I've heard, they're willing to negotiate and they're willing to try and make the deal work, because they didn't approach you just because, oh, hey, this person looks cool, let's see what they've got going on. So I think initially go ahead.
That was the question I had earlier. If like negotiating was like something that was even a thing, like if you countered, if they would tell you to kick rocks, like you're not, is it being, it's just knowing your worth, right? So if you counter, it's okay to do so, because you're just, you're not trying to be like cocky or anything by saying, hey, no, I think I deserve this. They actually respect it, I'm assuming, when you counter.
Yeah, exactly. And like at the end of the day, like we said, and this is all business. It's all a part of the process. So everyone's, like we said, is trying to get the best deal possible. So if they're not willing to take it at that time, maybe they'll be willing to take it at another time, maybe not. Maybe you can take that deal and go to another company and be like, hey, this company was offering me this. I'd really like to work with you guys, and I can do it for this. So there's just so many options, and I think we just get limited in our thinking like, oh, this is the last deal I'm ever going to get. And in most cases, that's not the case. So that's just yes.
One more question, and then I'll let whoever else wants to come up here. So did you reach out to these people, or did they come to you?
They just cold came to me. So I use their platform, and I don't know if they saw me, it was word of mouth or whatever, but they just reached out to me and they sent me an email. And I can't show the email obviously, but I can read you exactly what the email says. Hey, my name is Jeff, and I work with X company's partnerships. This company is making such and such, and we need your help. In addition, we'd like for you to create such and such. He said, I'd love to chat about exploring opportunities around, loop packs and stuff like that, and our content together. He said, what did he say? Oh, he said, we're fans of your projects, and we'd love to work with you. It's probably just a general email that they sent out to some other producers and stuff, but it was personalized to me, so I don't know. He's like, in the meantime, check out our platform, and here's more about the company. Let me know what you think. And that was pretty much it.
And then you responded. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I'd be interested. And he's like, great, you have time to talk. So we called and we talked on the phone, and then we did a little bit more back and forth, and I was like, this would be my price for that. And he's like, okay, I'll see if we could do it. And he's like, we won't be able to do that at this time. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Well, I definitely like to talk in the future, and if anything changes, let me know. I never heard back from them, but I just decided, I would reach out. I would reach out to them, and I reached out to them, and they're like, yeah, let's do it. So it worked out.
Congratulations on that. That's
Thank
awesome.
you. Hey, tell everybody about Replay while you're up here before you go.
Oh, yeah. Come join our Discord server, Replay Music. It's just, the link's pretty easy. It's just discord.gg/replay music with a Z. And we have fun competitions over there, and Class C is going to be there tomorrow night, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have a good time.
Co-host our Replay live shows. So, yeah, come join it. A bunch of artists and producers. Trying to get the producers on, because we have producers who submit beats during the Replay lives, and we listen to them and stuff, but they never get top 5 because the audience doesn't know. We need help with with producers and stuff. So but yeah, there's a lot of dubstep producers in there and things they submit every Tuesday night. But come join us.
All right, y'all go check out Replay. Mandy, I'll drop the link for the Discord in there too, so people can go join. So
that'd be awesome. Yeah, we're at 400 members now, 415 actually. So it's growing every day.
All right, let's get it. So, appreciate you always. Thanks for showing support. I'll see you next time. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.
Peace. All right, so we got Johnny Woo up next. Johnny Woo, what's good, man?
Hey.
How are you?
How's it going?
Good, man.
Can you not bring me and Mandy on at the same time?
I might be able to. We're just getting short on time. So I've got 5 minutes before I've got to jump off because I've got to be a meeting at 2. Okay. But I'll make sure we get both of y'all on here next time. I'll start the back and forth early.
I just have one question pertaining to ghostwriting, what you know as far as ghostwriters, and is it kind of say you're one of Drake's friends, and then I don't know, because someone debate maybe I shouldn't be rapping, I should just be ghostwriting, but I don't know.
So what specifically about ghostwriting?
Just getting into the industry as far as that is concerned.
Yeah, so usually as a writer, you'll get a cut of anything that you write to. It just depends on the deal that you work out with the artist. So some artists, they have ghostwriters that they've never paid and just given them credit. They've had ghostwriters that they've given credit and they've gotten paid. So it just depends individually on what you work out with the artist that you're working with. Now, as far as with the record label, I wouldn't be able to speak on that because I'm not sure, but I can definitely make a note to try and get a ghostwriter on here or another writer and see how that deal normally works out.
Okay. Another question I had, stop me if I mentioned this last week, but say, you know, pertaining to say like White Iverson and Post Malone, if I were to say take a classy beat song that I didn't buy from you, but put on say SoundCloud, and then it goes completely bonkers and I go viral, and I don't own the rights to that song, like, I guess what is the leniency, or maybe even with you, of you working with the artist from that because you want them to blow up, then all of a sudden it's your beat that has, you know, kind of like Lil Yachty's Poland song, because you want to be recognized than the artist does. Is there any leeway as far as like that conversation can go?
Yeah, so those things are pretty straightforward. I think it depends on if the artist is signed or not, obviously. So whether you have to go through a record label or clearance. If that happens and the artist signs after, I'm sure you saw what happened with Glorilla and a little bit, yeah. So there was an issue there, but I think as far as leniency goes, it's not too complicated. I mean, the producer just works out a deal with how much money they want for the rights to the song. Otherwise, the producer owns the full rights to that song. So if you can't get a deal worked out and the producer is feeling extra petty, they could essentially, issue a claim and have the song taken down. But in most cases, it doesn't come to that. I mean, that artist at that point, if a song is blowing up that much, they're working with the label. And if they're working with the label, then the label will work out a deal with the producer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really all I got. I have something I could bring up, but I'm not going to.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, bring it up next time, man. We're here. I'm here for it. I wish we had more time, and next time I won't be so long-winded on the front end. But thanks for sponsoring today's show. Shout out to you, and I appreciate you always watching and showing support.
This week I don't have the mustache, so I don't look like a 70s porn star.
Hey, but you got the glasses and the scarf there. I don't know. You're looking like you're about to write a movie or something over there, or produce a movie. So I'm digging it, man.
I'm about to cut out. Anyways, classy, dropping dimes that I just love the knowledge all you guys brought and continue.
Oh, yeah.
So,
well, always appreciate you dropping by and showing support, man. And y'all make sure you go check out Johnny Woo. He's everywhere, going crazy.
Wrong on the sponsor.
Oh, I missed the Y. I'm gonna blame it on my laptop. My laptop always skips the Y. There we go. I'm gonna get it updated. All right, you're good now. Appreciate you, man. I will see you next week. Peace. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end the show. I've got a call that I have to get on in like 3 minutes. So shout out to everybody who's watching. Again, make sure you subscribe to the Music Industry Convos YouTube channel. We're getting that channel up to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It's going to happen. So appreciate and shout out to everybody who is watching. And make sure you hit the notification bell too, so you don't miss any time we go live. We'll be back next Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we might even do a show on Friday. I'll have to see what goes on there. But again, thank you all so much for watching, and we will be back here next Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will also be live streaming tomorrow on the Classy Beats YouTube channel. I'll be making some beats. We're getting back into that this week. So thank you all for watching. Appreciate everyone who showed support. Shout out to today's sponsor, Johnny Woo Raps, and of course, DistroKid and BeatStars. Y'all make sure you check out the links in the description, and I will see y'all next week. Peace.